Hello everyone and welcome to this Suzie Jules video. This video is to show you how to make a beautiful crocheted rainbow, which is perfect as a hanging decoration, spread a little cheer, however you want to use it really. This will accompany the Suzie Jules crochet kit, which comes with everything you'll need and the perfectly measured out amounts of yarn to make a crochet rainbow, or this video will help you if you want to try it off your own. If you do want to buy the kit to have a go at this, the link is in the comments. So to make the crocheted rainbow, the hanging decoration, it's based on crocheting a circle and therefore changing the colour each time you do a new row. It starts off with the smallest, so you start off with the pink in the centre, working out to the largest amount, which is the red. And we're going to be using one stitch predominantly for this. This is the treble stitch. These are UK terms. In the US, this is a double stitch. So I'm going to start off with the smallest, the centre of the rainbow, and start with the pink. And the first thing I need to do is to attach my yarn to my hook. So I do that by creating a slip knot. So I have the short end here and I fold over to make a loop. So there's nothing attached, just literally folded over. The hook goes into that loop and I grab the long end of the yarn and pull it through. And then if I just pull that tight towards the hook, I've attached my yarn. I'm right-handed, so my yarn tends to go off to my left-hand side, and then I'm ready to hold on to my yarn. So we're now going to start with, once we've got that slip knot, to chain 4. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. So I've now chained 4. I'm now going to then try and form this into the beginning of a circle. So I'm going to insert the hook into that very first chain that I did. So 1, 2, 3, 4, the first chain is here. Put the hook into that, yarn over and pull through both loops that are on the hook. So essentially what I've done is then just made that chain turn into a circle. I'm then going to chain 3. This is like going to be the first stitch, so it's going to act as the first treble. So I've got my circle here and my first chain. I'm now going to work into that ring with this treble stitch to make a total of 12 stitches. So I need to make 11 treble stitches using that into that circle. So to do a treble, I yarn over, insert into the centre of the ring and pull up a loop. I've now got 3 on the chain, on the hook. I yarn over, pull through the first 2 chains left on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2. That's completed the first treble. So I've got my chain of 3 and a treble stitch. I'll do that one more time. Yarn over, insert into the middle of the ring I made, yarn over, pull up. I've got 3 on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. I've now made a second treble, but I've got 3 almost strands in total. So I'm going to carry on now. I'm going to make another carry on until I've got 12 in total. So I've got the chain 3 to start and I'm making another 11 treble stitches to make 12 strands. Okay, so now I've completed, I have my 12, I need to now attach and complete this into a circle. So I need to find the top of that chain 3 that I started with and loop into them. If you can see that chain 1, 2, 3, and then I've got this first V shape here where I've got the 2 strands after that chain of 3, that's where I'm going to join into. So then I get a nice complete circle with them joined at the top together like that, if you can see that. So that is the first round, and that's your pink round. I've got a little bit of a hole in the middle with the way that I've done that, which is absolutely fine because I'm going to be folding my rainbow in half and it helps with a little bit of the arch. But some people might find that if you know how to and want to, you could try a magic circle and be able to pull that tight if you really want to close that. But for the purpose of what we're doing, having a circle hole in the middle like that is absolutely fine. Okay, so I'm going to now join on my next colour. So I will show you that joining process for us to do the next round, which is going to be in the purple. Okay, so now I'm going to join my new colour, which is purple, onto my pink, this being round 2. How I've been doing that, there are lots of ways you can join different colours, but this is what I found works quite well with the rainbow. So what I do first of all, I've still got my pink on the hook, still got that same one on there, and I then just pull through the new colour through that loop. So I've now got straight away a colour, the new colour on my hook, and I've just pulled down and pulled behind the pink that's existing. I haven't cut it off yet, I've just kept it there and just pulled it down to bring it down. Can you see how next to where I'm currently working, the first stitch, if I just put my hook under it, when you form these stitches you get a clear 2 strands, sometimes called a V, on the top of the last stitch, so it's almost like what you can see underneath. I'm going to go into that and pull through, yarn over and pull through the purple. So I've now got 2 loops. Then I'm going to yarn over and pull through both of those loops. And I'm just then going to pull it down. I just find this gives a good secure base to then carry on working through my next set of treble stitches. So on round 2, which is in this case the purple yarn, I want to increase double the amount of stitches. So we had 12 stitches in the first row. This next row we're going to have, or next round, 24 stitches. So essentially we're doubling, which means I want to have 2 stitches where every 1 was on the previous round before. So we're basically adding 12 stitches extra. Once our yarn's attached, like it is now, we're above that chain, we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And that's basically forming as my first treble stitch in that same space. Now where this double line is that we've just put in here, I'm going to do another treble, and that's doing my first increase of doing 2 trebles for every 1 below it. So there's number 2. Now I can start working my way along, and each time from the row below I'm going underneath that V stitch from the previous stitch. So I've inserted my needle, I've got yarn over 3, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's created a treble. I'm going to put another one in that same space. And this is where it's quite important to count as you go around, so you realise and can spot if you've missed something. So I'm now up to 4. So again, I'm now going into the next stitch, the next pink stitch, and I'm going to be putting 2 treble stitches in this same space. So yarn over, insert under both loops, yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the first 2. Into that same space again, yarn over, insert into the same space, pull through, 3 loops on, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And I'm now going to carry on all the way around until I get back to the end and do exactly the same joining process as I did before, and then I'm going to make sure I've also got 24 stitches as I make myself go round in this circle. I'm just going to go ahead and join the blue like I did before, looking for that double V of the previous stitch. The first one there, yarn over, pull through and pull through. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and join the green, which is round 4. This is going to have 48 stitches, so I'm going to join it like I have with the previous rounds first of all. Okay, now I've done that, I've pulled it tight. I'm going to chain 3 to act as my first treble, and then I'm going to do another treble into that same space. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, 3 on, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the next 2. Okay, now with this round, so I've done, in that first stitch I've done 2 trebles, and now I'm going to do 1 treble in the next space. And then I'm going to do 1 treble in the next space. And then I'm going to do 2 trebles in the next space. Then I'm back to 1 treble in the next space, 1 treble in the next space, 2 trebles in the next space. And I'm going to carry that pattern all the way around so I get back to the beginning, and for a total of 48 stitches. So again, I will make sure I count to check that I haven't missed or dropped any stitches. So I'll see you when I get back round to the end again. Okay, I've just got to the end and counted, and I'm at 47, and I've done a 2 treble, 1 treble, so I need to do 1 treble into that last space to make my total of 48. And like before, I'm going to join into the top of that first full stitch from the chain and just pull straight through and pull through the loop on my hook to join them together in a slip like so. So that's completed round 4, the green, and I've got a total of 48 stitches. Okay, now I've completed the green, I'm going to go into my next round, which is round 5, and is the yellow. So I'm going to join this the same way again. Okay, now that it's joined, I'm going to do the chain to make the first treble, and then I'm going to do a treble into the same space like I've done on all the previous rounds. Okay, so I'm starting off with 2 trebles together. I'm then going to do 1 treble in the next space, one treble in the next space, and 1 treble in the next space. And then I'm going to do 2 trebles in the next space, and then I'm going to do 1 treble. So the pattern for this row is 2 trebles, 1 treble, 1 treble, 1 treble, 2 trebles, 1 treble, 1 treble, 1 treble. So I'm going to carry on with that pattern all the way around, come back to the beginning to do that for a round of 60 stitches. So I'll see you when I get back to the end again. Okay, I've just got to the end and got 59, and this row needs to be 60, so that last treble goes into that last stitch space there, and then I'm going to go into the top, that first stitch there, and slip into it, pull through the loop and pull through the loop on my hook to join and create that. Now, as I've got quite a lot of yarn left over, like with the previous rows, I'm giving myself a long tail, but I'm just going to snip off what I don't need just to keep it out the way. So you should have plenty of yarn. Okay, the next row is the orange row, and that is round 6, and this is now for 72 stitches. I'm going to do the same and join this on as I've done before. Okay, now that's joined, I'm going to do my first chain to act as the first treble, and then I'm going to do a treble into the same space like the previous rows. So I'm starting with effectively 2 trebles. Okay, and then the pattern with this, you probably can guess, is adding in 1 more treble into the row, a total of 12 being added in to make 72 in total. So in the next space I'm going to do 1 treble, and in the next space I'm going to do 1 treble, the next space I'm going to do 1 treble, and in the next space I'm going to do 1 treble. So 4 spaces with 1 treble in them, and then I'm back to 2 in 1 space. So I'm going to do 2 trebles. There's 1, there's 2. So the next 4 spaces I'm going to do 1 treble and back to 2. So I'm going to carry on with that pattern all the way around till I get back to the beginning again and join those together like before. Okay, I'm just getting to the end. I've got 71 stitches, so my last 4th one and last one to get into that stitch to complete that round, and that is 72 stitches, and I'm going to join underneath the top of that stitch, first stitch there, pull through as a slip to complete that orange round. And now I'm on to the final round, which is the red round. And for this round 7 in red, I'm going to complete 84 stitches, and it's going to join, as you guessed it, in exactly the same way. And I'm going to be working the trebles round in a pattern of starting with the 2 trebles, and then in the next 5 spaces will be 1 treble, back to 2 trebles, the next 5 spaces 1 treble, and all the way around. So what I'm going to do now is just go straight ahead and do that red round, round 7, for 84 stitches, and I will see you at the end when I've got to the end to show you how to close it up and make the rainbow. Okay, so I'm just coming to the end of my row, and I've just counted where I'm up to, so I want to get up to 84 stitches. So another way that it's important with your counting, and I can see that I'm going to end up, I've just done the last 2 in 1 space, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces left, which is what I should have for this row, where I am doing 5 spaces of single stitches. So that's another indication to me as well that I'm on the right track, as well as counting to doubly make sure. It's just really important to do those sorts of checks, because it does just make sure that it looks even and you get that finished circle as you intended. So just to make sure, and also this is another good point, is just so that I don't miss that last stitch. It's a little bit harder to see that last stitch, but by counting I know that I do need to get 1 more stitch in. So there's my 2, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and I need to do 5 spaces of just 1. So I know that I have got to use that space there for that 5th one, and then I'm going to do the join, and that's my total of 84 stitches for that final round of the red. Okay, so there we are, that's the completed round and the circle with the changes of colour to create my rainbow. So the next step is to join these together into a semicircle essentially. So I'm just going to cut off the red, but I'm going to leave, there's loads of yarn left over anyway, so there's plenty of yarn left over, but I am going to leave an extra long tail just so I don't cut myself short. So I've still got all of this left over, so there's plenty. And from the Suzie Jules kit you can see I've got quite a lot of yarn there. You might be able to use the same concept to make a mini rainbow or something else with it, which is cool. So put that to one side for now anyway. So I'm going to finish off and now put this rainbow together. So I've got my hook still left over where I've just joined. I'm just going to elongate that loop and simply just pull the rest of the red yarn through it and then pull it tight, and I've just secured it there. But I'm not going to cut it off at this point. Firstly, what I'm going to do is just secure on the back, is where I've cut all the different colours. I'm just going to secure these off. Now, because this isn't going to be seen, because you're going to be folding your rainbow like this and stitching along the edges, it doesn't really matter how you secure these particularly. It doesn't like you have to weave in the ends or anything like that. So I think all I'm going to do is just where there's two yarns together, I'm just going to do straightforward knots. And I might just do a knot over the top just to secure it so it doesn't come undone. So I'm just working down that join where each of them have been joined and just knotting it. And this last one, the beginning and the end of the pink, I'm just going to knot those together so that end pink is knotted to the purple and the beginning of the pink like that. Now, as I've said, the reason for doing that, I'm not need to be worried, is because we're going to hide all of this. But I am going to snip off these ends, make these all a bit smaller. But be careful not to snip off your red yet. I can snip the short red that I don't need. It's that last finishing red that I don't want to snip off. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to essentially stitch along this edge to secure it and hold it into place to create that rainbow shape like that. So I'm going to take my wool needle, and as you can see I've left a very long piece of red, but that's fine because I'd rather have more than not enough. And I've folded my circle in half with those knotted ends on the inside. Now, just to get rid of this knot and to bring it down, I am going to go across to the other side and put a stitch in here, and it just starts to pull down that red. Now, there's no real right or wrong reason to do this, to be perfectly honest, but once I've done that, just to start bringing that knot in, I'm going to go back to the inside and then find where these meet, come in from the inside, because what I think I would rather do is go all the way along in one go as I'm stitching, rather than starting from the middle, stitching one side and stitching the other. That's just how I'm going to do it. As I said, there's no right or wrong reason, and if you leave plenty of yarn, you can do it however you want to. Again, with the stitching, you can do it any way you wish. You can see the top of the stitch where you've got that standard V of the two strands of yarn from the top of the stitch. You could go that you were going through both on both sides. So the stitch is here and both strands of stitches there. You could do that. Or you could just use the inner stitch and stitch like that. It really doesn't matter. The object of this is to essentially just secure it. So however you choose to do it, I think I will just try going under both. I think you'll find the main difference being is that if you do just go into the middle ones, you'll have like a line at the ends where those haven't been used, whereas if we go through both, so essentially 4 strands at a time, it will pull it all together and probably end up with a straight sort of more closed edge, I guess. So I'm going to go ahead and go right across to the other end, and then I'll show you what I do next. Okay, so I'm just coming up to the end of stitching those ends together, and you might find you don't need to go into every stitch. Every other stitch probably is enough just to close it together. And as I get to that very bottom corner, what I'm going to do is I want to just get my yarn coming through into the top of the middle again, just for a hanging point. Now this is just a suggestion with obviously all this leftover yarn that you've got, and there is plenty of red within the kits that I provide in there, so there should be plenty of it in there, so that you have got a way to hang it, but you could do all sorts of other things. So I'm just pushing the wool needle in, and obviously I've essentially made a pocket because I've got this folded in half, so just making sure I don't poke through any of the other sides. And you've got a guide with the join, you can sort of just about see where the joining is to know that that's roughly where my middle and where I'm aiming at. I'm going to poke it through to bring the yarn back out through that middle. So you can just see the last bit is just pulling at the bottom in the corner there. And if it doesn't look like it isn't quite centre, which this currently isn't, I can just shift my needle, pop it back in, and just bring it out where you think the middle looks more like it might be. The nice thing of doing this part in the same colour as that last red round means that you can disguise. There we go, that looks a bit more in the middle now of it hanging. Just pull out that corner a little bit so that's pulled in. So there you go, that is essentially the basics. That's what you'll be able to produce if you use a Suzie Jules rainbow decoration crochet kit. That's what you'll end up with. As I've said, hopefully you'll end up with probably quite a bit of yarn left too, so you might be able to make some other things with that. You could experiment with adding on different embellishments. I've seen people add on pom-poms at the bottom to make sort of a cloud effect. You might want to hang with some of the ribbon some of the yarn that's left over. You could hang and put some beads on, hang some. You could really do lots of different other things from this basic point that you've got here. You might want to stitch in a ribbon rather than the yarn into the top to hang from. So there you go. I think it makes a really lovely basic rainbow, which I think you've also got the creativity to options to do something else with it too. And I think it's a really nice make. It's nice and straightforward. Once you get the hang of it, once you get the hang of working in a circle, it's a good skill to learn to move on with your crochet. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you back on Suzie Jules Creates for some more crochet videos. See you soon.